CompTIA Security Plus Practice Test.
Question 1. A security analyst needs to schedule vulnerability scans for an enterprise network. Which of the following is the most important factor to consider to minimize the impact of scanning traffic on business operations? Option A. The total asset value of the targets. Option B. The historical trend of vulnerabilities discovered. Option C. The organization's maintenance windows and low traffic hours. Option D. The complexity of the CVSS vector strings. The correct answer is option C. The organization's maintenance windows and low traffic hours. Scans should be scheduled during maintenance windows or low traffic hours to reduce operational impact. This is especially important for production services and bandwidth-sensitive environments. CVSS vector complexity does not determine the best scan schedule. Question 2. Which of the following vulnerability scanning methods provides the most accurate and comprehensive inventory of installed software, missing security updates, and local configuration issues on an endpoint? Option A. Non-credentialed scan. Option B. A credentialed scan. Option C. Discovery scan. Option D. Passive scan.
The correct answer is option B. HSM.
Credentialed scans authenticate to the endpoint and can inspect installed software, patches, and local configuration. This provides deeper and more accurate findings than unauthenticated scanning. Passive scans cannot inspect local system state directly. Question 3. An incident response team is responding to a malware outbreak. The team needs to determine the initial point of entry for the infection. What forensic activity are they performing? Option A. The eradication planning. Option B. Root cause analysis. Option C. Business impact assessment. Option D. Risk tolerance mapping.
The correct answer is option B. FDE.
Determining the initial point of entry is root cause analysis. It identifies how the incident began so the weakness can be fixed. Eradication planning uses that knowledge but is not the investigation activity itself. Question 4. An analyst runs netstat-ono on a Windows server and notices an established connection to an unknown external IP address over port 4444 from a process running with administrative privileges. What should the analyst suspect is occurring? Option A. A standard secure web browsing session. Option B. Active Directory Federation replication. Option C. A reverse shell connection established by an attacker. Option D. Automated patch download via Windows Update. The correct answer is option C. A reverse shell connection established by an attacker. Port 4444 with an unknown external established session from a privileged process is suspicious for a reverse shell. Attackers commonly use reverse shells to maintain remote command execution. Normal secure browsing would typically use ports 443 or 80 and a browser process. Question 5. An analyst is creating a dashboard to track key performance indicators, KPIs, for the vulnerability management team. Which of the following metrics directly demonstrates an improvement in the organization's security posture over time? Option A. The total number of ports scanned during the month. Option B. A reduction in the average time required to patch critical vulnerabilities. Option C. The number of update emails sent to system owners. Option D. The total storage capacity utilized by the vulnerability scanner. The correct answer is option B. A reduction in the average time required to patch critical vulnerabilities. Reducing average time to patch critical vulnerabilities demonstrates improved responsiveness and reduced exposure. It directly reflects security posture improvement. The number of scanned ports is activity volume, not outcome improvement. Question 6. A retail organization discovers that an unauthorized script on its web server has been copying customer credit card details during checkout and saving them to a text file. Which type of data is being targeted in this incident? Option A. Personally identifiable information, PII. Option B. Cardholder data, CHD. Option C. Protected health information, FI. Option D. Intellectual property, IP.
The correct answer is option C. Chain of custody.
Credit card data used during checkout is cardholder data. CHD is specifically protected under PCI DSS. PII is broader, but the payment card context makes CHD the precise classification. Question 7. A security analyst is inspecting a Linux server for indicators of compromise. They execute the command lastlog and notice several successful root logins originating from an unauthorized external IP address at 3 a.m. In which log file is this information natively stored on most Linux distributions? Option A, /var/log/inc/access.log. Option B is /var/log/auth.log or /var/log/secure. Option C, /var/log/cron. Option D is /var/log/mesc. The correct answer is option B, /var/log/auth.log or /var/log/secure. Authentication events such as root logins are typically recorded in /var/log/auth.log on Debian-based systems or /var/log/secure on Red Hat-based systems. These logs are the right source for login review. Linux access logs record web requests, not system authentication. Question 8. A security analyst is investigating a phishing incident and notices a malicious file attachment. The analyst calculates the SHA-256 hash of the file and checks it against a public threat repository to see if it has been observed elsewhere. What forensic concept is the analyst utilizing? Option A, a data sanitization. Option B, chain of custody documentation. Option C, file hashing for integrity and identification. Option D, timelining analysis. The correct answer is option C, file hashing for integrity and identification. A cryptographic hash uniquely identifies a file and helps verify whether it matches known malware samples. SHA-256 is commonly used for integrity and identification, chain of custody documents handling, not the technical comparison itself. Question 9. A vulnerability scan reveals that a web server allows the use of weak, deprecated TLS 1.0 and TLS 1.1 encryption protocols. What is the primary risk associated with this finding? Option A, attackers can perform cross-site scripting attacks on users. Option B, attackers can decrypt intercepted session data via cryptographic downgrades. Option C, the web server will experience memory buffer overflows. Option D, the server will become susceptible to distributed denial-of-service attacks. The correct answer is option B. Attackers can decrypt intercepted session data via cryptographic downgrades. Weak deprecated TLS protocols can enable cryptographic downgrade attacks and interception of session data. Attackers may exploit old protocol weaknesses to weaken confidentiality. TLS version issues do not directly cause XSS or buffer overflows. Question 10. An organization wants to analyze how a novel malware variant behaves during runtime by observing its registry mutations, file system modifications, and network callouts inside a secure, controlled, and isolated environment. Which of the following analysis techniques should the analyst use? Option A, static analysis. Option B, fuzzing. Option C, reverse engineering. Option D, dynamic analysis.
The correct answer is option B, brute force attack.
Dynamic analysis observes malware behavior while it executes in an isolated environment. Registry, file system, and network changes are runtime behaviors. Static analysis examines code or binaries without execution. Question 11. An organization is migrating its on-premises infrastructure to a hybrid cloud model and wants to implement an architecture where identity is the primary security perimeter and explicit verification is required for every access request. Which of the following strategies best meets this requirement? Option A, software-defined networking, SDN. Option B, a zero-trust architecture, ZTA. Option C, secure access service edge, SASE. Option D, cloud access security broker, CASB.
The correct answer is option B, improper error handling.
Zero-trust architecture treats identity and device posture as the control plane and verifies every access request explicitly. This directly matches identity as the primary perimeter. SASE and CASB can support cloud access, but they are not the core model described. Question 12. A security analyst completes a vulnerability scan of a new corporate branch office and discovers numerous high-severity vulnerabilities. What is the most appropriate first step for communicating these findings? Option A, publishing the vulnerabilities on a public blog to raise awareness. Option B, creating an actionable report with categorized findings and distributing it directly to the local IT personnel responsible for remediation. Option C, sending an email to all corporate employees warning them not to visit the new office. Option D, waiting until the annual external audit to mention the findings. The correct answer is option B, creating an actionable report with categorized findings and distributing it directly to the local IT personnel responsible for remediation. The appropriate first communication is an actionable report to the IT owners responsible for remediation. Findings should be categorized and directed to accountable personnel. Public disclosure before internal remediation would increase risk. Question 13. A security analyst runs a vulnerability scan against a group of Linux servers and finds a high-severity flaw in a common utility library. The system administrators state that patching will break a critical custom internal application. Which of the following should the analyst recommend next? Option A. Accept the risk and ignore the finding entirely. Option B. Implement a compensating control, such as a web application firewall rule or network isolation. Option C. Force the administrators to patch the system immediately regardless of the application breakage. Option D. Delete the utility library from the operating system core. The correct answer is option B. Implement a compensating control, such as a web application firewall rule or network isolation. When patching may break a critical application, compensating controls reduce risk while a safe remediation path is planned. Network isolation or WEF rules can limit exploitability. Ignoring the flaw entirely leaves unmanaged risk. Question 14. A vulnerability scan report indicates that multiple web applications are missing the HTTP Strict Transport Security (HSTS) header. Which of the following risks does the absence of this header primarily introduce? Option A. SQL injection. Option B. Cross-site scripting, XSS. Option C. Man-in-the-middle, MITM, credential interception via HTTP downgrades. Option D. Remote file inclusion. The correct answer is option C. Man-in-the-middle, MITM, credential interception via HTTP downgrades. Without HSTS, browsers may be downgraded to HTTP, enabling man-in-the-middle interception of credentials or sessions. HSTS forces HTTPS for future connections. SQL injection and RFIR application input flaws unrelated to the header's primary purpose. Question 15. A security analyst is validating a vulnerability scan finding that claims a database server is vulnerable to an older exploit. The analyst checks the system configurations and confirms that the specific vulnerable service was disabled 6 months ago. What should the analyst conclude? Option A. The finding is a true positive. The service must be uninstalled completely. Option B. The finding is a false positive because the service is inactive and cannot be exploited. Option C. The system is still vulnerable via other active service components. Option D. The scanner executed a credentialed sweep that bypassed the service check. The correct answer is option B. The finding is a false positive because the service is inactive and cannot be exploited. If the vulnerable service is disabled, the specific reported exploit path is not active. The finding should be treated as a false positive for that condition after validation. The analyst should still document the evidence supporting the conclusion. Question 16. A security analyst receives a paid commercial threat intelligence feed that delivers structured indicators of compromise, IOCs, formatted in XML over a standardized transport protocol. Which pair of open standards does this feed most likely leverage? Option A. OpenIOC and OpenSSL. Option B. Hystix and TaxiI. Option C. MITRE ATT and CK and CVSS. Option D. JSON and REST API.
The correct answer is option B. OCSP.
Hystix defines structured threat intelligence content, and TaxiI defines a standardized way to exchange it. This pair is commonly used for automated IOC feeds. MITRE ATT and CK maps behaviors but is not the transport standard. Question 17. Which of the following metrics would be most useful to include in a report intended to measure the efficiency and responsiveness of a Security Operations Center (SOC) triage team? Option A. Mean time to detect (MTTD) and mean time to acknowledge (MTTA). Option B. The total number of monitors installed in the SOC room. Option C. The wattage consumption of the CM collector servers. Option D. The number of words contained in the Incident Response Handbook. The correct answer is option A. Mean time to detect, MTTD, and mean time to acknowledge, MTTA. MTTD and MTTA measure how quickly the SOC detects and acknowledges alerts. These metrics directly reflect triage responsiveness and efficiency. Facility details such as monitors or power use do not measure SOC performance. Question 18. A security analyst uses a tool that silently captures and records all raw frames passing through a network interface card configured in promiscuous mode. Which of the following tools is the analyst utilizing? Option A, Wireshark. Option B, Nmap. Option C, Neshes. Option D, Zeek.
The correct answer is option C. Risk transference.
Wireshark can capture raw frames from a network interface in promiscuous mode and display packet contents. Nmap scans hosts and ports rather than silently recording traffic. Neshes performs vulnerability assessment. Question 19. While reviewing a Unix host's resource consumption, an analyst discovers a process running from /TMP that is utilizing 99% of the CPU capacity. The process name mimics a standard system daemon but has a small typo, CompTIA. Which of the following is the most likely cause of this issue? Option A, legitimate system updates executing in the background. Option B, a rogue device performing network mapping. Option C, a malicious process running unauthorized software. Option D, normal memory paging misconfiguration. The correct answer is option C, a malicious process running unauthorized software. A process running from /TMP with a daemon-like misspelling and extreme CPU use strongly suggests unauthorized malicious software. Attackers often mimic legitimate process names to avoid notice. Background updates would not normally run from /TMP under a deceptive name. Question 20. While examining a compromised server, a forensic analyst notes that several critical system files have had their creation and modification timestamps manually altered to match those of legitimate, uncompromised OS files. What is this anti-forensic technique called? Option A, time stomping. Option B, a data obfuscation. Option C, log wiping. Option D, a steganography.
The correct answer is option B. Zero trust.
Time stomping is the manipulation of file timestamps to hide malicious activity. It makes malicious files appear consistent with legitimate system files. Log wiping removes records, while steganography hides data inside other content.